evening to all stations on frequency. This is the Henderson Amateur Radio Club's Sunday Night TechNet. Tonight's host, WB6AMT. My name is Earl. If you have a computer in front of you to follow along, please go to WB6AMT.com. Click on the upper right-hand corner where it says Arc TechNet, and then you can follow along with a little bit of tonight's discussion. Tonight's topic is actually Ask the Pros, or Stump the Chumps, as some of the people call it. I also put up a little bit of a blurb on Motorola's new wireless long-range charging system. So that'll be just a few minutes at the beginning, and then we'll jump into everybody's comments and questions. Motorola recently demonstrated their new power beam technology, which is a little bit different than the current QI technology of wireless charging. Up to this point, most of the wireless charging has been relatively short range. Motorola's attempting to do with device charging that Wi-Fi did to the internet, getting rid of the cables and giving it some distance. So instead of setting your device into a cradle or on a pad to charge, Motorola's recent entry into the long-range wireless charging landscape happens when you are within the range of the antenna, the unit, the power supply, of about 3 meters or 10 feet, which is really quite a distance. Go ahead and click. I'll let people click on the video there, and we'll let it run there. Okay, I personally don't have a wireless charging cell phone or anything, but I can certainly think of a lot of ideas, that can answer the, why an interest in long-range charging. Everything from like hearing aids, which are important to me, people that have heart monitors, diabetes monitors with these little 2-week things that they attach to your body, smart doorbells, digital door locks, security IP cameras. This would probably be good for just about anything that runs on a battery, alarm systems, any of that stuff. Motorola's first generation, back in January at CES when they unveiled it, had a range of about 1 meter, 3.3 feet is what they said. This month, they've gone to generation 2, capable of distance a little over 3 meters, about 10 feet, which is pretty cool, and it can do up to 4 devices at the same time. One thing that they do mention is that when charging at the 10-foot, they mention clear air between the charging unit and the device being charged. I'm wondering if that's, nothing can be in front of it. The interesting thing, though, is that the charger is equipped with a phase array with approximately 1,600 antennas. Now, what this does is the charger covers an arc of about 100 degrees, so it can beam power to phones that are over on the edges of the coverage area. With the charger, they can handle obstructions like that between the phone and the charging unit. That means you can charge the phone in your hand or your pocket, and the charger can detect your body and aim the beam away from it so that it hits just the phone. Now, that I think is pretty cool. And, of course, all this is it sounds very cool, but the drawback, it does take a bit of time to slow charge, time-wise, which I'm sure Motorola will probably be working on for their next generation 3, something like that. Anyway, any comments or questions about that? Does anybody use wireless charging right now on their phone? One of those pads or anything? I'd like to hear from you. WB6AMT.
NO7BS. Earl, I've been using the G-pads, spelled QI, for a while, but unfortunately their range is extremely limited. So limited that if you take the phone and put it in a protective case like OtterBox and set it on the pad, it no longer charges. So the charging distance is like not even a quarter of an inch. NO7BS.
Well, I guess it would have to be. Do you have any idea what approximate frequency range that's operating at?
And my daughter both gave me one, and once I got the auto box on the phone, I had it set it just right, and it just took too long, so I just in my drawer with a whole bunch of other things. But I definitely liked it. The iPhone seems to do better, from what I'm told, because my son does his that way, but didn't work for me on my Android. Note 9, but AI7, AC, back to you.
Yeah, NO7BS. Earl, it's a couple hundred kilohertz, and if you like, I can send you a picture of what the induction coil looks like inside a phone that's equipped for it.
Yeah, I'd like to see that, Kurt. Appreciate that. Anyone else?
KJ7OEN. I use one. Has to be directly on it. If it's off, doesn't really charge, and it slow charges.
Well, I guess Motorola, there's actually several other companies. There's some Chinese companies that have been working on this stuff. One of them, I believe the name is OSSIE, or OSSIE, something like that. And supposedly they've got something going on at about 1 meter, just a little under 1 meter. So this might be something that the competitors, are going to be trying to hammer out to beat the competition. I can see that. I can also see where that would be a real big plus for people buying phones. Of course, they're going to try and sell you the 5G, and then don't forget this model over here that has long-distance wire, the wireless charging. I have a Motorola Android, but it's the one I have is Stylus G7. And I like the phone, but it's not wireless charging, so we'll have to check into that later on. Anyone else? What do you think some other things that this application could actually be helpful in? I'd like to hear from guys. Let's hear your ideas.
I anticipate a device like this embedded everywhere in an office environment, in the ceiling, in the furniture. If you go to a restaurant, it's in the table. So just being in proximity would charge your devices continuously wherever you go, airports, things like that. So I don't think speed would be so much of an issue as just distribution. And I just wanted to add, wasn't this Tesla's idea towards the end of his life? Wasn't he working on wireless power transmission? KJ7BBA.
Yeah, I think that was on a different scale, and the towers were incredible. But he was trying to provide, Tesla would wanted to power houses and try and get away with do away with the wiring. But from a standpoint of being able to just top off your phone when you walk into a restaurant or even at work, especially if you're one of these people that uses their phone a lot at work, getting that extra little charge cycle in between calls. I can see where that would be a plus. WB6AMT.
I think hearing aids would be one of those that might work out pretty well if it can charge overnight, instead of buying those batteries, because I know my father-in-law, he spent a lot of money on batteries, and he was always replacing batteries, but it would be ideal for that. And like you said, a pacemaker, if it has one, that would be also another good device.
Well, I use quite a bit of, I use hearing aids occasionally, and mine use batteries, but the chargeable ones, that would really, I think that would be a major plus. Plus things like the wireless doorbells with the little video cameras, that supposedly give you, 6 months at a time on a battery or something like this. Well, make it to where it could get a little trickle charge continuously, and never have to change the battery. So, there's going to be, I'm sure there's going to be more of application specific as this technology gets, as Motorola evolves, a little bit farther down the road with it.
Late check-in?
Go ahead.
Good evening, Earl. Just a late check-in to send 7XO, Don.
Thank you, Don. How are you doing tonight?
Not too bad. I just had a question. Did they say any kind of power level or what they're transmitting?
What I was reading is it was a 45-watt charger, I don't know what that 45 watts was being referred to. I don't know if that's the capabilities of the unit, if it was 45 and, you divide it by 4 for each phone or what. But I'm afraid I don't really have a good answer for that on you.
All right, thanks a lot. Yeah, I'm just curious what kind of power levels, if it's up in the upper end of UHF or lower end of microwave or whatever.
Well, I'm sure as soon as somebody has one, first thing they're going to do is pull out a spectrum analyzer and take a look at, plug it in and see where it comes alive at. At this time, is there anyone that has something that they would like to address to the group? WB6AMT.
Okay, well, I'm thinking about breaking the piggy bank and making an investment and really nice telescoping mast at Gigaparts, the 34-foot one of it. It comes in 2 flavors, carbon fiber and fiberglass. Now, what I'm wondering is, and one of the things I want to do with this thing is I can use it to make a nice or make a vertical antenna with a simple piece of wire. So my question is basically, and I'm planning on putting a horizontal standoff between the wire and the mast, but will that carbon fiber have any effect on the antenna and its radiation pattern? And if it does, how far away from should I get the wire, or can I get the wire to it wouldn't couple or whatever with the carbon fiber?
That's an excellent question. WB6MIE, Tony, do you have some thoughts on the dielectric properties of carbon fiber?
Probably pretty poor dielectric. Carbon is conductive unless you're just using it for support and the wire stays perpendicular or, at an angle to the top. That would probably be okay. But if you're thinking about just using it for a support wire, for a vertical wire, I think that would be a bad choice.
All right, so that's what I wanted to know. Because part of it is can you hold the wire off far enough from the carbon fiber that it wouldn't have an effect? Otherwise, I guess it's going to be the fiberglass version.
Yeah, what's your idea with this? How are you going to arrange the antenna?
Well, it's meant to be a portable, whatever serves the need antenna, or part of an antenna. Well, I guess you call it a system. I'm hoping I can use a simple piece of wire for putting up a vertical if I want, but I can also use it as a support for an in-fed half-wave sloper. Or I can put maybe like a beam on top of it that doesn't have too much of a wind load. But I really would like to be able to use it as a way to put up a vertical. I think it would work a treat.
You probably have better success with fiberglass, I think. But it's an interesting idea.
Well, the fiberglass is a lot cheaper than carbon fiber, and it's really not that big of a difference overall in terms of the weight. So yeah, I think the fiberglass is probably going to be the way to go.
What kind of height are you talking? How many feet?
It'll go to 34 feet.
Well, I'd like to
34 or 24
on a future tech net and let us know, how it worked out for you and the different applications you tried with it. Okay?
Yeah, okay. One of the things that I plan on doing with it, pretty much right off the bat, is parks on the air activation. Yeah, maybe even, I think 20 meters would work great on that thing. So it's just something that gives me a lot of flexibility, I think, is kind of what I'm really after.
All right. What I was saying is I've got quite a few dipoles out in the backyard with steel conduit, and the center feed point, I've stepped it off the side of the steel pipe. Only about 6 inches is where the feed point is located. I've noticed no ill effects whatsoever with dipoles being supported by conductive poles. I don't think the carbon fiber is going to give any grief at all.
Yeah, but those, the antenna will be perpendicular to the mast. In this case, if for vertical, the antenna would be parallel to the mast.
Well, that's true. And carbon fiber is not a great conductor. Actually, it's a relatively poor conductor. I don't really think it's going to give you much grief. What you have to do is sit down and figure out, do you need the strength of carbon fiber, or will fiberglass do it?
Yeah, that's one of the things that I've thought about. It's a lot stiffer, which is pretty good, especially when you want to put up vertical, like slopers and maybe even dipoles, anything. And to answer Earl's question a moment ago, it comes with a companion tripod, big honking tripod that you can hang sandbags off of it to hold it down. And I would probably get that thing as well. But, this thing's a lot of money. And the carbon fiber is quite a bit more expensive. So that's actually going into my consideration as well.
Yeah, it also sounds like you're going to have have some sort of a opposing support, either some sort of guy line, nylon, or some of the black UV rated antenna rope, because you go up any distance at all and put any side lateral pull on it from like a sloper or something, it's going to want to come over unless you tied the top off in the opposite direction to something. But I don't think your tripod's going to be able to handle it. We use a tripod, a nice big tripod on a 15-foot 2-inch tubing to support the T-hunt antennas, and any kind of lateral movement and even strong winds have taken the antenna over. So you're definitely going to have to tie it down with something.
Yeah, I was planning on always carrying maybe 100 feet of paracord for that type of thing as well. And also you can hang, it's got hooks on it that are designed for hanging sandbags off it. So you can put a sandbag or two off of each leg of the tripod. It's a very intriguing solution. And it's not going to be permanent. It's going to be purely for a portable and temporary type of situation.
Well, we've tried sandbags on the tripod. And, of course, the higher it gets, the less it needs to pull it over. One of the mounts that I did like was a flat piece of steel about a foot wide and about 24 inches long with a 2 to 3 foot pipe welded to it, and slide the mast down over the pipe and park your car tire on the steel plate, and that seems to hold it pretty good. It was, and that's also used by a lot of guys that are doing parks on the air activations and things like that. So that's probably going to be your cleanest way of doing it. But that also puts the antenna right there, or the mast right there at the vehicle. I don't know if you wanted to hike in someplace, and you're going to have to tie it off. W3QQQ, WB6AMT.
W3QQQ. Go ahead.
Dave, I understand you have some things you wanted to discuss tonight?
Well, I've been looking for folded dipole antennas for quite some time that were somewhat reasonably priced, and I came across a rather new listing. Antenna company called Harvest. It's on Amazon and on eBay, and I found their FDU2 folded dipole UHF 2-bay, and the guy's got it listed there. I think it's Eagle antennas for $145 and $8 shipping. And I looked at it. I didn't buy it, and I got an email. The guy said make an offer. So I offered $120. He came back with $125 and the $8 shipping. So it got to me for about the price he was originally asking, a little less than $145. It's a 2-bay UHF monoband folded dipole antenna system. Doesn't come with the mast. It's very well put together. Unfortunately, it's just a wee bit long for what we use here on amateur or GMRS, FRS systems. Let me break. The elements are about 15 and a half inches, a little bit longer than that. They've got resonating points at 348, 488, and most importantly, about 420. That's actually the center of the antenna. I've got VNA shots and stuff like that. I'd like to do this at this particular antenna, along with some other antennas and VNA shots, and put that TechNet together that I've been promising you forever, haven't followed through on. But it's a very well built antenna. The SWR is basically under 4 to 1 from 300 meg to 500 meg. And it goes down as low as 1.02 to 1. It's Makes a great receive antenna. I've transmitted on it on various frequencies. It doesn't have the efficiency of some of my coaxial collinear antennas, but for what you get, for what you pay, it's a hell of a deal. W3QQQ, Q back to you, Earl.
So this is a horizontal dipole?
It's a UHF 2-bay, 2 elements, with the mast and the mounting hardware. You can mount them vertically or, well, I don't know about horizontally, vertically, much like a repeater side antenna.
Okay. Oh, maybe you could do some comparisons with, see how it performs checking RSSI levels on known signals and with maybe a GP3, something like that, to compare it with. Sounds pretty interesting, Dave. WB6AMT. Any other stations? Got anything for the net? Call net control now.
This is KE0JBH. I've got a question if you guys can read me.
KE0JBH, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Got a question about my HF radio. It's a Scout 555. I started playing around with it today and working on building a buddy pole right now. I've got some parts on order. But when I was messing with it today, I decided to open the top and make sure there wasn't full of dust or anything like that. Once I was finished, I put it back together and I kind of did an ops check and realized that when I switched the switch to tune, it makes no tone. So either benched a wire or did something. So it worked before. Any thoughts?
Hey, Kirk, you want to chime in on that a little bit?
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that transmitter. When he flips the tune, it should be the same as CW mode. If you take the radio and key it in CW, does it generate power?
Well, I didn't try. I did just key the mic, and it did have power. Yeah, I'm not sure. I didn't try CW, but it's never done this before. I'm not sure.
Yeah, not familiar with it at all. I'm assuming this is your run-of-the-mill single sideband HF transceiver?
Yes, sir. As far as I know very little about it, and other than I've had it for a few years, but done very little with it. It's got some. Like I said, it's a Tentec Scout 555. It works a little bit differently. It's got actual modules that you plug in for each band, like 10 meters, 20 meters, and so on. So that's kind of how it works. It does have some settings and different things like that.
Yeah, it's kind of an older rig, and switching to the tune position should actually generate full power. I don't know if you have a mode selector. You need to put it in AM or upper or lower sideband when you flip it to tune. But that's the only way you're going to get a constant tone or power out of a single sideband transmitter is in the tune position. If it's in a regular single sideband position and you flip it to transmit, obviously it's not going to make any power until you modulate it.
Now, what if he accidentally turned his side tone off?
Well, side tone is typically a receive type of thing, being side tone. So as he sends CW, he hears a side tone. But on transmit, when he flips it to the tune position, it should put out full power. If he has a mode selector, what he needs to do is put the mode selector in CW and then flip it to tune.
Well, hold on. K0JBH. I think I just solved the mystery. Not sure I want to admit it, but no, I was just looking at here, and I have a side tone volume set screw and an RF power set screw. And I was making sure that those were where they were needing to be, and I think that I turned my side tone volume all the way down on accident. That is most likely the problem.
Okay, well, I'm kind of confused here. I don't know if it's you're not hearing side tone that's bothering you, or it's not making any RF power.
I apologize. It's making power when I flip the switch. It is making power, but I wasn't hearing the tone.
Okay, yeah, quite often in the tune position, you will not hear the tone. And you won't hear a side tone in upper or lower sideband. You'll only typically hear the side tone in CW.
Okay. I was just going off of the way it's always been before. But yeah, no, I appreciate that help. I'll tinker with it here, and I think it'll be fine. But I appreciate that.
You bet. Ten-Tech was really solid stuff. Like I said, I'm not familiar with the 555, but the Ten-Tech line was pretty neat stuff.
One last thing, I'll turn it back over. I've had it, like I said, for three years or so, and I've always struggled with it running a dipole or different antennas, and all very cheap and very well off, or not very high off the ground and things like that. So I'm not sure if the radio is actually working the way it should be working. I've had some instances where I've kind of put some into question. Any resources that you guys know of where I could take this thing and actually get it ran through its paces?
No, I don't know of anybody in the area that does that service type work on it that can actually throw it on a bench and see what's going on. But you should be able to benchmark the thing yourself. I don't remember if the 10-Tech goes outside the amateur band or not. Will 80 slide up to 5 megs, or will 40 slide up to 10 megs to see if you can hear WWV? Or have you tried going just slightly above the 40 meter band to see if you can hear any of the broadcast stuff at 7.3? Also, there's a lot of FT8 activity on every HF band, almost 24 hours a day. So if you go on 40 meters, go to upper sideband 40, go to 7074. See if you can hear tones there. On 20 meters, it's going to be 14074. On 15 meters, it's going to be 21074. See if you can hear any of that. That's usually on 24/7.
Yeah, sounds great. I am hearing, when I am hooked up to a good antenna, I am hearing tones. So I'm sure everything's good. I just got to get a better setup here. Like I said, I'm currently working on getting a relatively better antenna than I have, which is no antenna right now. So, yeah, I'm going to work towards that and run it through its paces and see what I can do. I appreciate you coming back to me, and I'm going to turn it back over to that. Appreciate it.
Okay, glad to help. Go ahead, Earl.
Okay, guys. Well, this is an interesting tech, that wireless charging thing. I think that's going to become more and more focused as a little bit down the road here, from as far as the manufacturers go, because the competition. You know how it is with cell phones. Brand A is going to try and outdo Brand B, and right now Brand M seems to have the grip on this long distance thing, long range charging. I'd like to thank everybody for participating tonight, especially those helping me out with the unreadable audio at times. I got a feeling it's not going to get any better. So, 73 to all stations, thanks a lot for participating tonight. I'd like to hear your ideas. That's, for additional TechNets. WB6AMT, returning the Henderson Amateur Radio Club's TechNet secured and the repeater system back to normal use.
This has been a production for the Henderson Amateur Radio Club of Nevada. Join us at w7hen.org. Audio post-production by W3QQQ. Video by KJ7BBA. Copyright 2021. All rights reserved.